Welcome back, everyone. It's Saturday, which means it is time to catch up on everything that's going down in World of Warcraft. It's been quite a week. Unfortunately, there's good things for the game, but not overall a particularly happy week. We've had some pretty awful news that is potentially going to be crippling a bit of WoW's future, and that comes directly from a producer who's currently working in the game, and also a leak of what seems to be the end of 10.1, which, is quite the thing. But with the actual game, it's pretty much all wins. So let's just get stuck into this pretty tumultuous episode of news. Let's kick it off with the big leak then. Now, here's the deal. The chronology of the leak is interesting. We all found out about it like the day that it was found, right? Like our company's Slack exploded, so we all talked about it. But amongst the community of data miners, it's like a mixture of nobody wanted to go first, and people were just kind of like, let's keep the lid on this. I don't think Blizzard wanted to go out. Then what happened is it evidently did get out somehow, and it was all over Twitter. And then it was really all over Twitter, and then once the cat was just completely out of the bag, because everyone was talking about it, Wowhead went ahead and posted it, which I suppose makes sense. They just have to post an article, whereas for the rest of us, we have to make a video and edit it, which takes a bit longer. But yeah, the cinematic's there. And as for what's in it, basically, we see this like kind of projection of almost certainly a new world tree, which will be, in the Dragon Isles. It's overall fairly interesting. I think it could confirm quite a few things. I think it definitely confirms that our next patch is going to the Emerald Dream, which is something that, if you'll remember from past news videos, Blizzard accidentally slipped some data into a build that we picked up on that basically said Emerald Dream outdoor gear will be a thing. So that's all very much being confirmed. This, of course, means a lot for Night Elves, a lot for Green Dragons, but it also means a hell of a lot for, I think, what it's confirming in terms of the patch after 10.2 and quite a lot of lore things. But I understand not everybody wants to dive deep into definite spoiler territory in a news video. We'll do that tomorrow. So that's basically the situation with the leak. I mean, at the very least, it does confirm this expansion's going pretty ham on content. Next then, I hate being the bearer of bad news, but Activision Blizzard's forced return to office policy is actually having the effect that everybody said it would. WoW's short and long-term health may be in danger, and we know this because a producer working in the game right now opened up on Twitter saying that Blizzard is losing some, quote, amazing talent, all because someone in power would not listen to the actual game directors at the company. He didn't just say listen to the staff, he said listen to the directors. So quite clearly the likes of, your Ians, they are against this policy, which I think makes a lot of sense given the impact it's having on the teams. Now, as for how bad this is, well, it means you're getting less value for money, because this producer then went on to clarify that they and the team are making crisis maps of what content they can ship, and that they are literally having to strike shippable items off the schedule as people are handing in their notices. Yeah, this is really stupid. Obviously, any company that wants to poach some Blizzard people, they can just see this as an opportunity to give a similar or better deal with better terms. Now, while we can't be sure in the reason here, because these two individuals haven't said why, but two Quest team members announced their departure this month. And that's the team that's been doing some of the best work in Dragonflight so far. Things like the Heritage Quests, Bane Quest, and all those like memorable side quests from launch. So that's pretty shit. Now, if you want a bit of a TLDR here, right, pandemic happens. Making games remotely is pretty hard, so companies had to rush to develop whole new ways of working from home. They take a humongous L during some of that time as, obviously they just have to suck a lot of wasted time, right? Things get knocked back. Shadowlands ends up being absolutely content devoid compared to what we normally would have been used to. But eventually, they actually do get a really good setup, I think, as evidenced by how Dragonflight was made 100% work from home. I think the only thing that I think to me quite visibly suffered is voice acting, where I think Dragonflight's really kind of iffy, but like that aside, they've shipped more content than ever with a more bullish roadmap than ever. Now, this is evidently because they were able to hire up massively during that period of time, which we know to be the case, including, acquiring a few companies. Acquiring Proletariat. So, it's good. It's good now. I mean, look at all the class design work that we get mid-expansion instead of just being left. But the people at the top, be that the top of Activision or the top of Blizzard, have mandated that this stuff ends. Now, even if returning to the office would be a net neutral or even a slight net positive, the fact that a lot of change would have to happen to make that be a reality, that obviously means an immediate impact to the schedule, just because people have got to change what they're doing, and also people will leave over this, or this will be, the final nail in the coffin. Now, the way that this whole thing kicked off with, it was with Mikey Bauer in a really disastrous Q&A, where he ended up just saying, look, if this doesn't make you happy, you gotta do what makes you happy. So basically, if you don't like it, leave. Evidently, people are leaving, and now producers on the Warcraft team have got to cut features, which obviously is what they have to do whenever people leave, and they can't be replaced. And even if you do replace someone, it takes time to get that new person up to speed. So this is pretty shit for the overall working conditions of people on the Warcraft team, then, isn't it? I mean, look, could you imagine not being in Irvine and moving to Irvine? I've been in Irvine. It's a horrific place. I don't know how people cope in absolute hellhole American, urban sprawl combined with scandalously expensive costs of living that very much will eat into a Blizzard salary, which is often not the most competitive thing in the universe. So, TLDR, it's a lose for the staff, it's a lose for us. So that's great. And the funny thing is, when Blizzard announced this, other companies, they started tweeting directly about it, for staff to apply to them because they won't force those people to move or to lose hours of everyday commuting. Riot and Bungie are two examples of companies who just have the pick of Blizzard's best staff and can gobble them up. And I say best staff because the most valuable and accomplished staff members there, they will be the ones who they're going to know their value, and headhunters are going to try to get them. So this is grim news for World of Warcraft right now. It's grim news for the future of the game. It's not world-ending, it's not unfixable, but it is a real kick to the positive momentum that team had. Definitely a downer for us to start on, but it's important that you know that before I just get into the game news, which I'm going to do now. And it's time for another cinematic. This time, one intentionally posted by Blizzard that gives us some more screen time with the Incarnates, showing them opening an entrance to the Zaralek Caverns in a way that is just really cool. Stone Daddy and Ice Ant use their powers to soften the earth and freeze over the trees, grass, and water for their big fire bro of the family to just blow it up. Pretty sure Farak is kind of sacrificial for the two of them to go and do their real plan. But hey, Farak does look pretty damn cool as he's dive bombing through it. Importantly, though, we get to see that in a reverse of Sarkareth being sneaky and watching the Incarnates in the last cinematic, Iridikron reveals that Aberrus is actually a big trap meant to entice Sarkareth, Emberthal, and the Black Dragons to basically fight each other. New roadmap. It's always nice to see Blizzard communicate better, and this is another really solid example. A new infographic that is just showing us what is in this patch and when it unlocks. And watching this, you might laugh, but WoW genuinely has a content signposting problem for many players who just don't engage with the game turbo online like we all do, and that's why they've got to do things like this. Next, though, big healer nerf. This is interesting to me. I main a healer. But yeah, this is what actually happened before Dragonflight's launch. Blizzard decided that healers were just too strong. They've been nerfed, but they probably should be happy about it. Yes, we should be happy that we are being nerfed. That might sound really confusing to a DPS player, but to a healer player, it basically means this. If healers are really powerful, then the only way that Blizzard can challenge healers is by making the incoming damage profile extremely spiky. And often that just doesn't lead to fun gameplay. And the way that this works is that players will get an extra 25% health in 10-1, but enemy damage will be going up 25% as well. So, yeah, we'll basically be able to spike up health bars a lot less, and we will need to plan cooldowns and manage our mana more efficiently, which sounds like a nerf, and it literally is a nerf, but again, as I said, that alternative would be worse. Blizzard have got two ways to nerf healers. This is one of them. The other is just to make damage more spiky, and that generally just removes healer and tank reaction time, and when the game's got more like that, it just hasn't been as fun. So actually, this way is better. Well, it took them a while, but 3 weeks out from Season 2, they've thrown up a huge amount of changes to dungeons in the new Mythic Plus pool. Freehold is getting a ton of quality of life changes to make it clear what abilities do and where, taking out some things like LOS cheesing boss mechanics, with a few new mechanics either added or redesigned. Halls of Infusion, Uldaman, and Underrot have also seen a bunch of changes, though many are yet to be fully documented in detail. There are still some issues that people are pointing out during the Mythic Plus testing, but overall it does look like things are shaping up pretty well for the launch. Next then, final piece of a puzzle, because one of the things that was actually missing from the game was a replacement for the Season 1 War Mode gear. Getting into PvP, therefore, looked like it would have been not great, like it would have been quite steep, but now that problem has been solved. War mode murdering and questing is going to get you bloody tokens and trophies of strife that you can use to buy and upgrade the new Scale Warden gear. This gear starts at eye level 434 and can be upgraded all the way up to 447. Of course, that's the PvP item level. This patch will reset your existing currency, by the way, so do spend yours now on any transmog that you might want. Next, Race to World First Guilds have been slapped. They've been attacked, ish. This was a part of their strategy that, was, I suppose, something that could be exploited. It may make your life a bit easier. So here's the deal. There's a 2-hour trading window for loot in the game. Now, that has been extended to 4 hours, but there's a catch. It includes time spent offline. And the reason why here is that World First Guilds often have a loot mule in their raids, who takes all the drops, logs out, and holds them for up to days in order to further optimize trading after other loot has dropped and they can plan all their gear out. There's also a new strategy with very rare items that's cropped up, where instead of giving them out right away, people sometimes hold them on a mule character until reset to see if anybody got it from the vault, so that they basically reduce their risk of dupes. Which is some fun degen strategizing, but it's something Blizzard obviously doesn't want. To be fair, the very rare thing is kind of a Blizzard design problem to solve, but it's clear that they want loot drops to be sorted out like that day, instead of metagaming the shit out of the whole thing. Now, on a positive side, it does mean that in cases where, say, guilds like us raid for longer than 2 hours, we can hold any loot that we're not sure about until the end of our raid and distribute it after, which is quite nice, instead of, forgetting or having to pause raid to discuss it then and there. Next, classic stuff. Big news for those of you who have been enjoying classic hardcore recently with the really insane, awesome add-on. And to say that this has popped off is actually putting it lightly. But here's the deal. An official version is very likely to be in the works. The creators of the hardcore add-on apparently had a chat with Blizzard, and while they didn't want to share details out of respect, one of their mods revealed that the conversation was basically Blizz asking for details on how to implement hardcore well. basically just getting priorities straight, discussing quality of life, and things like ensuring that griefing can't happen. There was also a new encrypted classic era build that popped up on the WoW Dev 2 CDN, as well as some previous data mining pointing at hardcore servers being worked on. Now, what does that mean? Does that perhaps mean that the next season of Mastery may be a little bit more crazy and interesting? If so, that's kind of exactly what I'd like to see from something like that. And actually, that's it for the news this week. It's not the nicest episode I've recorded lately because, well, a lot of us would prefer that leak didn't happen. And, yeah, crisis maps. That's not what we want to hear when we're busy getting positive roadmaps. Now the roadmaps may have less things. That's not good. At least we're swimming in content for the now. Let's just hope that the Blizzard teams are able to get over the bullshit that the management are throwing at them. I can only say though, for the game right now and actually playing it, yeah, I'm excited. I really am. The Forbidden Reach has been a fun, like, Timeless Isles-like experience with some pretty well-paced content that I've been enjoying. You know, getting some tokens to get my alts ready. Yeah, I'm just pretty much, I'm in for the game. It'll be fun. Okay, that's it for today's video. If you want to check out something next, oh boy, the Big Future War. Do you remember that Velen prophecy from a very long time ago? Well, we kind of updated the stuff that he was talking about, and it's in this video. So check that out. And with that said, I'll see you next time.